Donald Trump bullies the press and protesters, appears to have wildly problematic corruption and conflict of interest issues, and has made a plethora of sexist and bigoted statements. Obama expanded the drone program, continued the war on terror, and failed to fight for a public option. George W. Bush caused the Great Recession, started the war on terror, and while he was warned about 9/11 more than a month in advance, he took no action to prevent it. If the most recent presidents of the United States seem especially vicious, dim, or corrupt, let me assure you that there is no golden age in the past to look back upon. While not all presidents are created equal, they all have pretty hideous failings. In this video, I'm going to give you a taste of the ugly side of every president in history.
I'll resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
You're going to be proud of your president.
Tear down this wall.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. The leader of Al-Qaeda.
Read my lips. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
Now, when you look at the presidents of the United States, it's very easy to understand, but it has to be isolated and examined. You have a situation kind of like the corporations of America. When you want to build a corporation, you have to get a license. And this license also got to be having insurance, or you got to add insurance to your license. And you have different licenses to have a business or a corporation. You have LLC, which is, it deals with your liabilities. Now, when you set up these corporations, the reason I named the LLC, because that's the most safe corporation. And the reason why it's a safe corporation, because if somebody was to come after you and want to hold you liable for any kind of damages, you would have this license so they couldn't come after you for any kind of damages. You wouldn't be liable. So the United States of America is a corporation. And so it's set up to where they won't be liable, or the people who run America would not be liable. And when you set up that corporation, and that corporation becomes successful in pulling in a lot of money and dealing with a lot of people and having a lot of employees, a lot of workers, a lot of so-called slaves in it, servants, you would set up over that corporation, not an owner, not a founder, you would set up a CEO or a president. The CEO or the president of that corporation is going to be pretty much the way you can get around being liable, even your identity being liable. Now let's go into the scriptures in Daniel chapter 6. The prophet Daniel in the 6th chapter, it says, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. So this king Darius, he wanted to set up princes. Verse 2, it says, and over these 3 presidents, so even over the princes. So it's like America, they set up governors over the certain areas or states, and then over those governors you have the president or the vice president and the president. So it says in verse 2, and over them 120 princes that were set up under King Darius, was set up 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was the first. that the princes might give account unto them, and the king should have no damages. You see, just like that CEO or that you set up a LLC license, so anything liable, anything that has caused somebody damage, you won't be liable for that damage and pretty much bringing you damage. Because if somebody else get damaged, they want a recompense for their damage. So they gonna come on to you and say, well, you got to pay for these damages, and that's going to in turn damage you or cause you damage as the owner or the person that's liable for that situation. But how they avoid that, they set up presidents. And so who is setting up these presidents? The king, the real ruler. So let's go. Let me go. Let those verses be seen. Uh-oh. What happened? Okay, you got Daniel. It says Daniel 6:2. Over these three presidents were set up over the kingdom of the Persian king Darius. Okay, they set them up over the whole realm. See, because he was trying not to be liable for anything he done. Look at verse 4. It said, then the presidents and the princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. See, the president is to deflect all the faults and the problems that's going on in the kingdom. He is the security blanket for the kingdom, pretty much, the insurance. And so this is what's going on with America. They have kings and rulers that set up these presidents to make sure no damage come to them, make sure they're not liable for anything, and the presidents can be blamed for every move that the king makes. Let's go into Ecclesiastes real quick. Let's see, is it 8:4? It says, where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? I mean, what you doing? Because the king, they ain't going to be able to say it. Because if he a smart king, he's going to set up presidents and mayors and governors and all kind of other people to be as a spokesperson and be held liable for any damages he gave the word out to do. See, if anything's going on in that kingdom, the king has the power to change it, and he is pretty much giving the word for it to happen, and he's held liable. So this is what's going on. Now we draw it down to the situation that's in America, because America is thoroughly in the Bible, and chapter 14 embodies America. Now, this is talking about America. Let's start it at verse 4, because this is what America is called. It says, that thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon, and say, how have the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. Now, gold, we know gold is the most is the pretty much a material or a metal that's it has the most value to it. That's why they would say that's the money of the earth. And so that's why it's called the Golden City. It's also called in Revelation 18 the Great City Babylon. And they are oppressors. The way America gains its wealth was from the institution of slavery. That's why when you go up to the 3rd verse, it says that it's some people in hard bondage in America. See, that's going through sorrow and being worked to death in some occasion. Then you have verse 2 that's saying that the nation that's running America, or the king that's running America, the rulers of America, is liable. See, they're going to be liable for oppressing the people that they captured to build this nation. And that's a whole nother story, but I'm going to stick to this America situation. Now, this is who running America. He said, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation? See, the king, the rulers of America is weakening the nation because they use America to go in and invade these other countries. Look at verse 6. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. See, they used America military to go around and rule over these other nations in anger. And then we at the point now, verse 10, it say, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Now, their military of America, who they was using to go around and rape, rob, and pillage all these other nations, now they have become weak as the other nations because everybody has the weapons that America was using, the guns, the tanks, the airplanes. They all have the gun, tanks, and airplanes and nuclear bombs or nuclear weapons. See, they all have nuclear weapons now, so they all are on the same level. And America is now weak as them, meaning they are on an even playing field. And even America, is in debt and is in more debt than the other nation. And American weapons, their weapons are not even on the level of Russia and China and these other nations, Iran. So this is who they're talking about. Now they're not just Lucifer don't stand for the American president. It stands for the king of Babylon, meaning the king of America, the controller, the one that's giving the word, the one that has the power to give the word and make things happen. See, those are the son of the morning, the ones that have the enlightenment. They know what's going on. They see everything and understand everything concerning America. Not a mayor who might know by hearsay, or not a governor that might hear by hearsay. This is a certified king who is controlling the whole thing. And we know the history of these jokers who started the so-called Illuminati in 1776 when America started. And then the Illuminati came from Germany, where they was a bunch of so-called Jewish people who was trying to steal the identity of the Israelites. And they set up this whole situation. See, and they had many families that was involved in that whole Illuminati and setting up these false identities with Joanne Blumenbach. They all came from up there in Germany, and there was so-called Jews in Germany. And in World War II, that was it was in Germany. A bunch of German scientists, they drugged them 500 German scientists to America to finish their job, to expand their job, and to elevate it and magnify it, where they can now, through the television, they do witchcraft on a whole nother level. they do mind control on a whole nother level with these German scientists. See, this is a whole operation, but they all go back to the nation of Edom. Now, let's get verse 16, because Edom was given the blessing of being a power in the world, having a great sword, and living by the sword. Verse 16, it says, they that see you shall narrowly look upon you and consider you, saying, is this the man? What the man? Meaning the nation. Is this the nation of Edom? Is these the Edomites that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? See, let's get Revelation real quick, because this is perfectly talking about Edom. It said, and there went out another horse that was red. Edom means red. And power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. See, they made the earth tremble. See, they shook the kingdoms. They ruled in anger. They killed one another in World War I, World War II, the Civil World War, the Revolutionary War, the Punic Wars. It says, and there was given unto him a great sword. So that lets you know, only Esau was given a great sword. He was set, his blessing that he cried for was to live by the sword. So this is what's going on with these presidents. They are distractions for the kings that's ruling America, that's controlling America, which are these top so-called Jewish so-called Jewish Germans, which are Edomites, because really ain't no such thing as a German. They Edomites from Germany to locate they behind, and mainly up there in Europe, who gained power through the banking system, and that pushed them over the rest of the Edomites, where they are the king, they are the rulers, and the other Edomites are just role players and pawns and puppets in the nation. And so this is why they use these presidents to hide their identity. Let's get that real quick. Jeremiah 49 and 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, meaning the presidents and these false leaders, and he shall not be able to hide himself. See, he's trying to hide behind these presidents, behind an LLC license, behind a governor or a mayor. See, they trying to hide the fact that they are ruling and controlling things, and they got the 1% of the wealth. 99% of the wealth, and they only 1% of the population. See, they got 99% of the wealth, and they only 1% of the population. And so that tells the whole story. If you can throw a calculation out your mouth like that, you know it's a small group of people got all the wealth. They are the kings. You don't have to have their name. They don't have to have their face plastered all over the place and saying, hey, I'm the king. They don't have to have statues all around in a great castle or big kingdom. No, they got all the wealth, 99%. It's not no George Bush, Obama, Trump. These people don't got no 99% of the wealth. They barely got a $1 million, $1 billion. These individuals have 99% of the wealth, and they the elites of the nation of Edom, the so-called white men. See? And so I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rekakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. For the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities, our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.